Yeah, man. All right, I think we're rock and roll. Okay, good. So we got the recording, we got the live stream going, everyone. So thanks for joining. We have a lot of participants that are going to be rolling in here shortly. So, um, yeah, we're gonna have fun tonight. Tonight, there's really no script, everyone. There's no agenda. However, we're going to take you on a little journey in the beginning of the show versus the end of the show. And hey, there's my friend Terry. One of the cool things that have transpired this week is, if you've been following me, I talk about this living library, this technology, this place that I go. And, I got on the United States trademark website, right? And I was checking to see, okay, is there a trademark for it? Sure enough, it's trademarked, right? And I'm thinking, no, I'm not doing this. There's no way that I'm going to start all this and then end up in some legal mumbo jumbo down the road, right? Because that's ridiculous. So I'm laying down. That's the last night or the night before last, I think it was. I'm like, listen, guys, I'm talking to the 22. I'm like, what are we gonna do? And they're like, it was never going to be called the Living Library. They said it's actually called the Library of Creation. So they've changed the name, and I got to tell you, if you listen to me, the Library of Creation, formerly the Living Library, right, contains all of consciousness. Well, consciousness is creation, so it contains all that information, right? Which, lo and behold, is not trademarked, right? So now I get to apply for the trademark tomorrow, and we get all that done. So I'm like, this is wonderful, because I was, you never want to be on the other end of the receiving of a cease and desist letter from an attorney because you're using their, patent or their trademark or whatever it is. So, yeah, super, super cool. And you guys, when we, get the number of folks in here a little bit more, we're going to go into the Library of Creation tonight. And yeah, I'm going to give you an experience, and then we're going to just open it up and we're just going to chat. And ultimately, Kim gets to choose who's going to talk. So you have to be nice to Kim.
All right. Woohoo!
Got to make friends with the sis.
We actually had some great times earlier today with just going into the library. I have to remember the Library of Creation
Creation.
because
Yeah,
I keep calling it the wrong name.
it's all right.
Um, you
You can
know,
talk, you can talk a little bit about your experience if you want, Kim. I mean,
well, that would be great. So I've got some things that I go through, and one of the things that I've always struggled with since the beginning is the visualizations and really seeing the colors and things come up and just going through that. And it's gotten a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And then today I was really seeing a lot of different colors. Like one time I had an old, like one of those old Fords, go across right in front of my face. But that one was pretty cool. It was like, wow, it was right there.
you're skipping over the really cool stuff.
Oh, goodness. Well, we went into the different rooms and I was able to see the TVs, and then of course I got to talk to Ken inside the room. Um, and that one was kind of different because I had to keep telling my mind. I had to ask Ken to talk to Ken.
So I'm on the call with her, right? Because I'm like, hey, Kim, I need to try out this new thing that they're telling me, but I need a guinea pig, and you're the best guinea pig I know. So we get on this call, and then she's in the Library of Creation, and I show up in the Library of Creation, having a conversation with her while I'm having a different conversation with her in real time here. And my version there was telling her things for her to tell me, and I'm telling her, well, ask him this, and he's answering her.
Yes.
It was absolutely off the wall.
Yes. But I had to keep remembering. I would say, okay, Ken, I need to ask Ken, my brother. I mean, I was just like a little confused as to who I was talking to and how I was, doing the question. And then there was a couple of times I was like, okay, am I asking that question was that one for me? Or did I say that right?
The version of me that showed up was one of the 22
Mhm.
that showed up in the room to facilitate some of the things that we were working on with her and to help me navigate some of the more intricate things, right? And I'm like, oh my God. It was absolutely incredible, right? So it was a 2 hour call and the record button stopped, right? Like we totally missed a full hour of it. However, luckily, I had just installed a brand new AI note-taking thing. First time we used it, it recorded the whole thing with full transcript. I'm like, thank God, because I'm not going to remember anything. So yeah, it was an amazing experience, right? So
We were like moving right along. I mean, it was like one thing after another and it kept going and we went into one room and then another room. And then, and I could see different things with chords and all kinds of stuff, which, I could see one was a black chord and just the screens and stuff, which to me is pretty amazing because
yeah.
I don't normally have that. I normally am saying to him, I don't see anything, it's all black.
Yeah, and
So
she
to be fair,
confirmed that version of me is a smart ass, just like this one.
oh yes, he was doing stuff, and then I would say, you know what? That he gave me the look. I know that look. I think that was a pun. That wasn't, you may want to take that one with a grain of salt.
Yes, yeah, right. So super cool. So again, yeah, we'll give it a few more minutes here. We've got about 41. We'll allow another 10 or so to join. And then what I want to do is I just want to drop everyone down. We'll hop in there. Everyone will have their own experience, and we can talk about the experience afterwards, or we can just go into questions and just a bunch of us hanging out, having fun tonight, right? I'm hoping somebody brought some chips and dip. So all right. Shari'a no te to kasi mami no ni ali ni mo ni sa ali ni di sige din ni to sugar po po to apa ali ata ni si ni di susuno po mo ali na an ni sing ni studio. So by the way, that light language is interesting. When I started the light language, it would show up in all my conversations, just my normal conversations, right? It doesn't happen like that anymore. It really only happens when I'm in session or beginning a process. It was really interesting. It's like all that training. I only need it now when I actually need it, which is really, really interesting and cool. So, all right, Kim, what do you think we should go move forward here?
Well, we're at about 42, and you said what, 79? So there's quite a few.
Something like that. Yeah, but I put on there show up 5 minutes early. I don't know.
That's all right. We're still having fun.
We're still having fun.
Yeah. Well,
So
you want to do some of the housekeeping and just some of the things.
Yeah, and then go ahead and do the housekeeping stuff.
So just wanted to thank everyone for coming and being here with us this evening, having this exciting time. So thank you, Ken, for putting this on for us. Please, if you have anything in the background, you'll want to turn it off and spend your time, listening to what's going on. Relax. Like Ken says, if you fall asleep, that's all right. He's said that every time, and sometimes we get feedback from folks and they're conked right out. Enjoy the ride. If you need something to drink or some water, you may want to grab it right now or run to the restroom or anything like that. But thank you for coming. Oh, and we'll be doing the healing protocol afterwards. I always put that out there for folks.
Yeah, we never know what's going to show up, right? In terms of the discomfort and the energy that's being moved. So, all right, cool. So I just like everyone to get comfortable. Just close your eyes. This is going to be the easiest thing you've ever done. So we're going to be going into the room of energy purification. So this room is going to raise your frequency in the body, and it's also going to work on the healing in the body. So as you are working on your frequency, my team will be working on you. But again, there's no guided process you need to go through. So please ask to be taken to the library of creation. Please notice what you notice. Now, once you get into the library of creation, please ask to be taken to the room of energy purification. Kaliania shomoyanotoya dieta aishi kamomoya ta ashi ni di nishiri ni di shini di shini nishiro momoyono momani nishiri no dokopa papia shaito. Now in this room, I want you to notice the light in the room getting brighter and brighter. It's a beautiful white light, maybe a little gold in it. However it shows up for you is perfect. But brighter and brighter. So bright that now you can't see in front of you. Absolutely full of light. Now what I'd like you to do is through the nose very gently. I want you to visualize breathing in the light into the nose and bring that light into your head. And then as you exhale, you're going to exhale old, stale energy. And continue to do this. Breathe that light into the head. And then as you get comfortable with that, you'll breathe it into the body, the arms, the legs. Use your own pace. And then once you're full of light, I want you to then begin breathing that light into the area of the body that you'd like to be healed. And watch it get brighter and brighter and brighter for the next few minutes. And that's it. Notice what you notice. Breathe in and breathe out at your pace comfortably. Shaliatia Netaretia Nishari Neria Nishari Gadari Nishari Monania Dari Nidia Nishari Dorico Barico Doshi Durico Dari Nidari Numaria Mani Nidari Nidaria Dari Durico Doria Nitaria Baricadari to Brishin Dirigoria Nutoria Monani Nishiri Dubrico Shuri on Doria Dari di Studio. Curindoria Nidaria Nichkari Deshkari Nidaria Barico Doria Baranoria Mani Dushin in Numonia Momini in Numonio Noni in Numonio in Numonio Nonia Mani Nid Numonusku Dorico Shigiri Oceano, Doria Dia, Daria Daria George Brigodonia Mani, and Nishin, Numero, and Idiari, need you to go. Just continue to breathe at your pace. Korean the Shiga Daria Doria Brigadish, Papa, 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 Kitiko, Poco. Kopikiti takati to koto kati seri ade dio shobrio papa pu hop kuti show teri ni ta sini di bari ko doni di ko bari ka dar bari bi chu go mo no ama ani ni to chu to kaya dik shikati ide chu per ko dori ka dar ka de chu per ko dori ka de ko bari ko dori ni dar ka de ka ri ki chu ko bari ko dori chu bari ko dori bari ko chu ki ka ni de ni chu ko dori ko chu kapag ka tau ka Sa ama mi no mo yo mo a pa ama enya ta o so pa a di enya ni sini ni ti enya mo mi to po pi to ni ti to mo to en besho ni ama a ali ni sini ni ti do bari ko to pi so ri pi ni ti do bari ko to so do ri ni ta ri ni ta ni ti ani ta ni ti ani ti ani ta ri ta Kariati Shariato Pioto Shiti Shapa Apa Ini Aliata Ali 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 Ni Ni Shububiota Kaya Niata Nia Deria Niataria Niata Ni Shirioporio Momiana Nitia Nidia de Shiriborigoto Kaya ne amo mia no mo maya nia na ni ania mo mia nia ni nia ni shmo maya niata ni ali ni ni shigobo obushurio Shoo, 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 sha, shi, shi, shoo, 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 shoo. Just breathing that in. And as you get comfortable, you can go ahead and open up your eyes and come on out of that. All right. Everyone's still awake? We didn't lose anyone, did we? Uh-huh.
Not yet.
Oh, super cool. You guys can pipe your comments into the comment section or raise your hand and, I'll dialogue with you. We'll have some fun. But this is your guys' show tonight. By the way, what you guys don't know behind the scenes is when I get done with every one of these light language podcasts, I have to clean my screen. I spit everywhere. It's horrible. So, so yeah, cool. How did you do, Kim?
Great. I had my session earlier for a couple of hours, so I'm very relaxed. But I could feel the energy going through my body and my body releasing. We get so tense from everything going on, and it's so nice to just, take those deep breaths and then breathe in that light.
So we don't have anybody who wants to talk to me? Is that seriously right? It can't be true. It just
Well,
can't be true.
Colleen just raised her hand.
Sure, thank God. It was gonna be a 15-minute podcast. So this is
Colleen,
about you. Go ahead and bring him in. Oh, hi, Colleen.
Hi. Do you know the meaning when you're speaking the light language, what you're saying?
No. So sometimes, like what we just did right here, I didn't have any visuals or anything at all. I just kind of sit and I just allow this to take place, and I'll feel a shift coming.
Mhm.
Like I'll be like, oh, I'm getting ready to turn my head, and I'll feel it turn, or I'll feel the tone change or the speed change, but I don't know what's really happening. Now, in other times, like when I do my group healings, and I'm working on the chakras, I'll see the collective's root chakra of everyone in the room.
Wow.
All right. And with that, they'll show me a ball of tar or something that I'm pulling out, right? And then I'll actually use my hands and I'll expand it wider and wider, and I'll go all the way up. So I'm interacting with that. But even though I'm speaking light language the whole time,
Yeah.
I don't know how that is affecting or impacting that part, right? And even when I do the private sessions, now those are a little different. Like when I am talking in a private session to an ET that has a contract or something, right? I'll know the intent of the dialogue.
Mhm.
Listening to leave or breaking the contract, thanks for your time, you got to go, whatever those things are. If it's a negotiation, I'll understand, but it doesn't translate into words. So yeah, I don't translate. And I did have one person one day in Sarasota, in an event in Sarasota, that brought me a notebook with light language on it. She says, I need you to read this. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can. But I was able to read it. And the way it happened was not by reading it, but by tuning into the frequency.
Yeah.
And then bringing the message through like that. So it was a really interesting, learning lesson for me.
That's fascinating. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
thank you.
Hey, Ken, and then I need you to try to figure out how to get the hand off the screen. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, lower hand. I just did it.
Oh.
For Colleen. Yep, I
Oh.
asked to lower. So Kathy. Kathy?
Yes.
There you
Hi.
go.
What's going on, Kathy?
I felt this has been going on since the beginning of the year, only during some meditations, and sometimes I could do it myself. But in the beginning, when I could feel the energy, my body kind of like spins in a clockwise position.
Okay.
But then when you really started speaking, I could feel energy moving in my head and mostly on the right side.
Mhm.
And you said to direct it to where we wanted it to go. So I asked for it to direct towards my right shoulder. I have issues going on with that off. And it does it more when I get in the car to drive. And I know it has to be energetic, not physical.
Okay. So when you asked it to go to the right shoulder, were you breathing the energy into the right shoulder?
Yes, I was trying to direct it as I was doing that.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's going to help or not. I did not feel the energy there. I felt energy working in my, my head.
Yeah. And that's fine, right? It's all about the intent and about, at the end of the day, a lot of times these visualizations that I take people through are a distraction. They're to get you out of your head.
Right. And
And
I
to
don't
allow-
have issues with that.
Well, all of us do, right? Because you'll start getting trapped into, oh, I'm breathing it in there. Can I feel it? Can I not feel it? Right? So do you have a question for me? I mean, specifically?
Am I gonna like um no, I guess I won't know until tomorrow when I get in the car to drive. If it like,
If we can move it
really,
around right now, does there discomfort?
no, I generally don't have too many issues. Occasionally I may feel like try to massage it, but there's always something when I get in my car to drive.
Is it just to your drive or is it where you're going?
I've thought about that, and I thought maybe it was on the longer drives when I have to travel, but
Mhm.
it's and if I'm going, in the short vicinity to run errands. And
Okay.
so that's why I figured it's got to be energetic, not really a physical thing.
Well, the way I see everything is energy, right? So I don't look at the body because the body is energy. If science is, if you go all the way down to the atom and even lower, it's all energy.
Okay.
It's just vibrating at such a lower frequency that it shows up as a material mass.
Okay.
Everything is energy, period. So we're shifting those energies, even though it's the physical body. It's still at the atom and lower. I'm, neutron, protons, whatever. I'm not a scientist, right? But we're moving at that layer, which is shifting the body. So the body's all energy anyway. So that's correct. So did that answer your question or not?
Yeah, it's just I worked on a lot of things. I'm just hoping that it'll
Are you asking me to work on it?
No, I thought it was or automatically was going to be working on me when I directed it. I don't know. I'm asking you, I guess, if it does that or
Well,
no.
what you were doing was literally raising the frequency of your body by breathing that light in.
Okay.
And what I was doing was working on the thing you focused on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
did.
Right. They said give it 3 days.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And then just kind of relax on that. So yeah, absolutely. So thanks for asking.
No,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
have a question for you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
who's that?
That's Rob.
Oh, hey, Rob. What's up?
I heard you mention everything is energy, but is all energy conscious or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Even the smallest particles, which are unseen, undiscovered by the human, also contains a consciousness. And as they move together and form their own collective, that collective becomes a consciousness. And then that collective moves into the atom, and that's a consciousness. And those atoms get together, and as they gather together to form a molecule, that's a single consciousness, up and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Everything has a consciousness to it. Every single thing. It's just the consciousnesses may only have one directive, one thing, one focus versus the human, where we have we think we're one consciousness, we're one soul, but we're a lot of consciousnesses, and together we interact, but it's a lot more complex, right? A lot more complex. There's a consciousness of your liver that has a job. There's a consciousness of your brain, so on and so forth. Does that help?
Yeah, it helps. And everything's interconnected at that level?
Yeah, well, everything has a relationship or a contract, right? And they form their own collective, right? Some people call it a social collective. I think there's another new buzzword for the term collective, right? But as a collective, they all work in harmony and they all move in harmony in terms of decisions and information, right? And job and purpose.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you. Jane or Janie?
It's actually Jan, forget the
Jan.
NE. But
Okay,
it's
Jan.
Jan, yes.
Sorry about
So,
that.
thanks for letting me speak. I have, when I was doing the energy, imagining the energy moving through, first it was a beautiful turquoise light coming in. And then when I directed it to my shoulder, I also have a right shoulder issue, it became like a swirling purple color. And I could actually feel like a change in pressure.
That's super cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've never had that happen before. So
Now,
that
do you normally visualize stuff when you're in this type of, meditations or such?
I sometimes, because I've done some meditations with you with this group situation, and sometimes I do get visualizations and other times I don't. You know, sometimes I'll see things and sometimes I won't see anything.
What about the feeling that you received today? Do you normally feel those energies?
Yes, yes, I have felt the energies before, but not quite that strongly.
Okay.
But what I'm wondering is, yeah, how, like, I actually had an operation and things aren't proceeding as well as I would have thought they would be, or
Yeah.
what PT people are thinking. So I'm wondering if, with having just had this happen, is this going to get better?
It's
Is
gonna
it
get better. There's some ancestors that are hanging on to your shoulder,
Oh, really?
right? There are some ancestors hanging on to your shoulder, and they got a little bit of what they needed for release today.
Ah,
So you're gonna accelerate in your PT, but it's not like gonna be a miracle healing, like you're gonna wake up tomorrow and it's gonna be done.
okay.
Right, but the thing that's been blocking your progress is removed, but you'll still need to go through what you're doing, but you're gonna accelerate in that healing process. That's what they're telling me.
Okay, okay. And just one other quick question to you. Since I have been doing these meditations with you, and it hasn't been that long, but I will have periods of like just go, go, go. The energy levels are very high and I'm getting things done. And then all of a sudden I will have absolutely no energy, not want to do anything, not want to go anywhere. Is that a normal
Yeah,
reaction?
it is absolutely normal because you know what they're showing me is that you know you're doing a lot of work, you're doing a lot of clearing, you're doing a lot of healing, if you will, right? And as you do that, you have other things that need to be healed that are coming in and hitting you hard. You're a little sensitive to energies, by the way. All right,
Yeah.
where they and so when they show up, they drain you, and they're not bad. It's just, you know, I tell people, and this is my observation through all the sessions I've done, is that when somebody really starts doing the work on themselves, right, it shows up. I like it shows up and it shows up and it just seems to get thicker and thicker and thicker. Where if somebody who's never done the work and they show up and they get healed right away and they walk away, wonderful, right? But not so much. But you know, when we step up to heal ourselves and the whole gamut of healing, not just the physical, right? You know, the other versions of us, the other things that are connected to us recognize this. And they're looking to be healed. So what are they going to do? They're going to go to someone that can help them, which just happens to be you.
Okay.
So it's just a process. As we work through this, it's a process, right?
Okay.
But it gets easier and easier and easier. So these ebbs and flows are just portions of you or pieces of you that are saying, hey, it's my turn now.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Jen.
We've got a couple of comments and questions here. So I wanted to, before we got too far down, one of them, and I had asked before she came in, it looks like Trish is here. She says, I missed the first part, Ken.
Bummer. We talked about your ankle. I'm kidding.
Another one, I think it's Rona said it was a bright light. I felt the energy. Jane.
Oh, Kim, you just muted, I think. You're muted again. What are you doing over there?
I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. So Rona says it was a bright light. I felt the energy. Jane had just talked about the turquoise light. Leslie says it was very relaxing. I was driving home and just pulled over. So it's
Probably not. That's what you do, Leslie.
yeah, you've got to pull over.
We'll add that to the notes before we start.
Before I go into a couple more, let's jump into Carrie. So she has a chance to talk and ask questions. Go ahead, Carrie.
Thank you. Hi, Ken.
Hi. How can I do for you, my friend?
Okay. This kind of seems to be happening to me when I interface with those that are bringing in activations, codes, different things like you did today. I can visualize with my eyes open several different things at a time. I can visualize the light, take it into my body. But to me, the energy I can only say is subtle. I don't have sounds. I don't have words. I don't have, lights per se. I just always say, okay, give me whatever I'm ready to receive with ease and grace. and that is needed kind of thing. Okay.
Mhm.
And so for me, I don't have aches and pains, but I have been diagnosed years ago with osteoporosis.
Mhm.
I've increased my protein because I have a functional doctor who indicated that, and have been doing some exercises, and those are fun, and
Yep.
no pain with that. And so I guess I'm just kind of wondering, is there something that you're seeing in
Yep.
my aura or whatever?
Yep, yep, yep.
Well-
I see it. I see it. There's so what they're showing me, and it's funny, it looks like a skeleton, right? This is also an ancestor that's kind of in you.
Okay.
But I see this ancestor stepping out of you, walking away from you, but dragging you with them, like they're not releasing. So even though you're doing this work,
Mm-hmm.
they're not releasing. They're not. It's almost as if they're refusing to be healed.
Does it matter whether it's on my mother's line or my
No.
father's line? Okay.
No, it
They're
doesn't.
just they're refusing to be healed.
They're like an energy sucker. I don't have a better way to say it, right? And they just
Energy
like what,
vampire.
yeah, they like what they're getting, but and so they're not gonna be released. Now they can absolutely be released, but you know,
Okay.
it's almost with more intention. Once you know they're there, you can say, hey, you're good, right?
Okay.
Or we can bring the angels in. There's some other processes. But let me just kind of let you guys know off, on a side note. So I'm working with a couple folks now to create an audio series, a downloadable audio series that will take you through the things that I've learned in my private sessions in such a way that you can self-administer the healings, right? So they're generic enough so that, as an example, there'll be one for ancestral healing, and it'll take you through the process. But it's designed in such a way that you can. One of my favorite phrases is wash, rinse, repeat,
Hmm.
right? Let's go ahead and deal with the ancestor that's potentially responsible for the osteoporosis, or the ancestor potentially responsible for abundance, and so on and so forth. So these are being developed now. It probably won't be available until October, so we're a couple months away.
Mhm.
But this will empower you guys to take control into your own hands of, ultimately using what I have in a way that works for you. So the library of creation, when you're in there, it allows you access to what I have, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, yep. So for you, you just keep moving through your healing, whether you're doing my events or others' events or group events, but it's the ancestor that just needs to go bye-bye. And you can
Give him a little loving.
yeah, and let them know I see you. You can leave now. I need you to leave. You can be healed.
Yes.
Bring the angels in. Whatever process you use your own intuition for that, right? And he'll be okay,
Yes.
or she'll
Thank
be
you
okay.
so
Whatever.
much, Ken.
I swear it's a he, but yep.
Thank
Okay,
you so much. I appreciate it.
no problem, Carrie. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gary. Yes. Georgia is the next one here in the list.
Hi.
Georgia,
Yeah.
hi.
Hi. I have more than one question, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. Well, as long as you're not doing the whole hour, I'm clean. But yeah,
No. I'm curious, the beings that are helping you, that have integrated in you, how are they different from angels in the hierarchy of things?
well, some of them are angels. Some of them are archangels. All right. Some of them are ascended masters. Some of them are ETs. Some of them are the versions of me. Like the whole potpourri. There's 22, right? And I haven't met them. We've met one. I've met two of them. I've met, right? The other ones will show up as my vibration continues to rise, right? But even when I was in Yalapa, 3 of them that came in were from the highest, the high of the angelic realm. Now, don't get stuck on the 22. All right, they're not the only ones showing up. All right, so I'm what's called the hollow bone, which means that for you, Georgia, maybe you need a particular, we'll just make it up, an ET species X, or, an angelic version, so-and-so, whatever it is that you need. Well, that version, when you're in the sessions with me or these light languages, which is, by the way, I found out one of the reasons my tone changes is because there are different beings coming out. It's not just the 22, right? There might be a segment of the audience that needs, an Octarian. There might be a segment of the audience that needs, Archangel Michael or whatever these things are, and those come through. So this is some of those tones that change. So even if one of the 22 isn't what you need for your thing, they'll come down. They'll administer whatever you're asking for, and then either they deposit that code, that frequency, that program in my field, right? So the next person who needs it, it's already there, right? Or they'll leave, whatever the case is. So don't get hung up on the 22. The 22 really is about a development integration of the potential of the human. All right, the potential of the human. But as I show up, this human, this body, this soul is designed in such a way that anything can show up of the highest light. Okay, just be clear about that, right?
Okay.
The highest light in order to deliver whatever is needed for those in the receiving end.
I was very interested in that to see who you were working with.
Yeah. I like I said, I haven't been introduced to the family, in its entirety. They're giving me just little bits and pieces, right?
Because sometimes your voice changes, your mannerism changes. So
Yeah.
I was just curious what was happening, who was coming in or working with you. So that answered that question.
Yeah, when you're in a session with me and I'm dealing with what I call the nasties, whether it be bad ETs or darkness, and the light language comes through, it's a very different tone. It's a very different tone. It's very deep and can be aggressive if needed, right? Because they'll match the energy of what they need to match, to get the negotiations across.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
The other question was, when we're doing the meditation, sometimes we'll do courting and we'll go counterclockwise, and the other times we'll go clockwise, and then we'll tie to a tree, or we'll go to the center of the earth, or something else. What is the difference? Is there a difference? Why are we doing the
So
difference?
in order to what's above, so below, right? When in my group sessions, we are going across the entire gamut, right? Not only are we healing the emotional or the physical, the energy bodies, but we're also, for everyone gets what they need, but we're also giving them more access to their higher self or their upper self, right? So we need to connect up, but at the same time, you have to ground down. You need that full connection, that full spectrum. So that's why the grounding comes in that comes up, right? And then when I ground the spine into the crystal grid, those are actually codes that are being delivered as needed, right? It's another energy layer, the human codes. The codes of humanity. So that's what's happening. Now, when you read about the clockwise and counterclockwise directions, you're going to get half the stories that say this and half the stories that say that. I can only speak for myself.
No, I'm just asking about you. When
Things spin clockwise for me, it's a release. It's a cleaning up, just like the funnel going down the sink, right? Counterclockwise for me is the bringing in the activations, the upgrades, if you will. At least that's how it always shows up for me. And I've questioned that through the years with various other practitioners. I'm like, listen, you guys are saying clockwise, but everything shows up counterclockwise. It's just the way that I'm designed. It's another way to say it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Georgia.
Thank you. Mary Ellen is next.
Hey, Mary.
Hi, Ken.
What can we do for you? What kind of questions you got for me?
I would like to know two things. On my right hand, for a whole year, I'm trying to heal trigger fingers.
Your audio is
Do you know
breaking
what
up a
that
little.
is?
No, your audio is not good.
It's a tendon. Hang on.
Go ahead. You might want to turn your video off. That might be easier too, whatever works.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah. What was your question again?
Okay. So my right hand, I have trigger fingers that I've been trying to heal for a year.
Okay.
Do the guides have any information?
What are trigger fingers?
It's actually from overuse.
Okay.
So it's tendons and ligaments that get stuck and inflamed in the hand. And I can't have surgery. I don't want surgery.
Yeah, so there's definitely a past life connection here. So I see him popping in and popping out. So it's like, imagine being in the same position. It's like I see him holding this round object and having to push and pull like this manual labor process. And it's like his hands were able to release, like this is what he did day and night, night, right? So he's literally locked in this crazy position, right? And the guy looks like he's 60 or something, but it's like,
Okay, male, because it's on my right side.
I don't look at things like that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I listen, there's a book that'll tell you, this organ means this thing, or the left side, the right side. And I absolutely believe in all that. But for me, I'm like, whatever shows up, shows up. And I don't put any emphasis on the gender or that energy.
No problem. It's okay.
If it works for you, that's fine. I just want everyone to realize.
No, it's fine. Hey, what do I know? I mean,
Yeah.
The more you know, the less you know. So
He literally wants his hands released.
Because I got grief, but I don't know if that's correct. Grief.
Grief. Well, he wants his hands released.
Okay.
Run. Okay, so it's like I just the angels are gonna come in real quick for him. Okay, so that's what showed up, and they did work on him.
Could I?
No, it's done. He's worked on. The angel showed up for him.
Okay. One other question.
Yeah.
I hear a noise constantly on my property.
Okay.
I cannot. Do they know what it is?
What kind of noise? I mean, help me understand a little bit. The more we talk.
Okay. So I live very rural. I live on 40 acres. There's nothing around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear for years this like humming noise that kind of goes up and down. It has different pitches.
Don't have any buried electrical cables out in the field?
No, I was even off grid living in an RV while building, and it was the same thing. It was the same noise. It's just driving me crazy.
They don't have any comment.
Okay.
Noise. Yeah, you do need to discover it. So then you walk around and you can't find it, huh?
It's all, I hear it all over. Oh, maybe it's ley lines?
Do you have any of those devices that measure sound?
I have an EMF reader.
I don't know much about, I mean, the point is you need to discover it.
Oh my God. Okay. Like I have to discover my location too?
There's some messages in there for you, but I don't know what they are. Okay, and so it's not often they don't actually comment. I mean,
Okay.
They really, you know, it's rare they don't just come out and say things, at least for me. Yeah, this is a treasure hunt.
Okay, I hope I make it.
You'll
It's
be
getting
fine.
late in the game.
Yeah, you'll be fine. All right.
All right, thank you. Nice seeing you.
Thanks, Mary.
And
Bye.
I got a couple of things for Mary. Some comments here. Louise Hayes book, and then Rona said had trigger finger, and you actually Ken healed it about 3 months ago. I didn't even ask. I went to a group session a couple of weeks later. It was gone. So
That's
thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I don't even know what that stuff is. I mean, people say I got this thing, that thing. I'm like, I don't know. So yeah. Kasi ito mo may initiative. So maybe you show up for you've been to the group sessions before, I think, as
Yeah,
well.
lots. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've had a private session,
Okay.
but the guides never asked. I mean, they never tell me much. So
Yeah, the groups they don't talk much anyways, right? They just kind of jump in and do their thing. So
I know. I know. I know. I should know better.
all right. All right. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
Rebecca is next. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi. When you first called for hands raised, I immediately raised my hand just because, Ken, you write and ask for feedback.
Yeah.
And I've been following you since, I don't know, day one through Sheila. And I haven't sent you any feedback because I didn't really have any. Nothing specific happened. But I have to tell you what happened today.
Okay.
I was 10 minutes late, and for that I apologize, but I was waylaid, and that's just how it worked out. So I jumped on, and you were doing the part about the light in the body. I don't know if you remember that, but I won't forget it. And what I want to say is that this team of yours is so on top of it for every single person here, because I'm living proof of it. I came in late. You know, you've got a boatload of people here. And immediately I heard you were guiding us something about the light in the body. And that light got so bright that I literally couldn't see my body. Now that's results. I was just like, wow. And then something after that I wanted to tell you about, and I'm still wowed. So now I forgot. Darn.
That's all right. You can raise your hand again.
Yeah. I can, what did you say?
You can raise your hand again if you remember.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to send you a boatload of love and say thank you so much. This was just amazing.
Thank you. And by the way, you guys can use that whole light thing, you know, just ask to go into, you know, the Library of Creation, you know, ask go into the, you know, the room of energy purification, and just breathe that light in. As you do that, just allow it to expand inside of you. And that should, you know, kind of refresh you, recharge you. Right. So when you're feeling those times during the day where you're just exhausted, give that a try. You'd be surprised how that shows up.
Patty is next. Hello, sir.
Oh, yeah, I'm Patty. I'm there. How are you, Ken?
What's up, man? I remember you, I think, from the show.
That's right. Yeah, I'm the fella from down Australia, but you know, I've been in as many shows as I can afford to be in, because I just, for some unknown reason, I felt attracted to what you were doing. And in the first ones, I mentioned to you about a thyroid issue, which you determined was probably a family one. And I also asked about talking to my brother, who lived in America, but he was in basically a coma due to Alzheimer's, and you said I can't do that because I don't have his authority. Well, he's now crossed over.
Okay.
A week and a half ago. If there's a possibility to contact him, because I haven't been in touch with him for 20 years or so, like visually.
there's always the potential to do that, but that's something I don't like to do.
Okay.
So when I first started doing this work, that would happen. They would show up and they would enter my body, and then I get the tears. I'd feel their emotions, right? And I put my foot down and says, no, I don't want to. I don't want that in me. So, I don't channel those who would pass, especially those who have just recently passed, because I find, at least in my history, the ones who just recently passed are actually more difficult to reach than the ones that have been there for, a few months or whatever the case is. I honestly would recommend you reach out to somebody who handles, mediumship and with that. I mean, honestly, it's you're going to get a much better result from them than you will from my team.
That's fine. I didn't know what the situation was. I mean, I'd be keen if you could talk to my father. He passed away 40 years ago.
Okay.
And I'm very keen to find out what he did during World War II.
They're saying no. They don't want, they're not going to channel those who have passed like that. So even when I do past lives or ancestors, they may show me a scene of what's happening, but it's because they need to be healed. But what doesn't come through is a channel like that. Like somebody asked me the other day, can you channel Saint Germain? All right. And I'm like, that's a great question. I don't really channel anything other than me and the 22 that are me, right? Even when there was a time, and it was probably almost 3 years ago, I think, where messages would occasionally come through for a client. But it hasn't happened in a long time, a very, very long time. So, again, I'm gonna say no. I think I'd be doing you a disservice if I tried to do that.
That's fine. I appreciate your honesty immensely. With regard to the sinks and the water rotating, in the southern hemisphere, it goes the opposite direction.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think that lady with the trouble with the wrists, that's commonly known as carpal tunnel.
I think it was her hands.
Well, she called it trigger finger, but the way she described, because I've got a sister that went through carpal tunnel, and it affects the ligaments running in the wrist.
It's in her hands. Trigger finger in her hands. Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. That's there. Maybe that lady with all the noise. Maybe there's a lot of wild bees around.
No, it moves. It shifts.
Oh, it shifts. Okay, over 40 acres. All right. Okay, right.
Locations.
Okay, it was just a thought I had because I live on acres here, and now and again I've heard some buzzing noises, and I think it's probably wild bees, and I just let it go.
Sure.
So I can't report anything fabulous that has come from you, but I can feel an ongoing improvement just a little by little.
Yeah.
Just different things. I thought, I'm better at doing this now than I was before, but I couldn't. And I'm thinking the only thing I can put it down to is listening to you.
I love me. You got a lot going on with Sheila's shows as well. So I think it's just your participation and showing up. It's working on you, right? Just being present is happening, whether you're in a session or if you're just showing up and allow the other practitioners as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'll keep showing up.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna give up.
No, not a bit, not a bit. Thanks, Patty.
All right. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. The next is Francisco.
Cisco, I think he prefers.
Francisco? Is it Francisco?
Cisco. Good. Yeah. Good. You can come off mute.
Yeah, I asked him to come off mute.
It's Cisco, right?
I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go by Cisco.
Yeah.
Cisco. Okay. Hi, Cisco.
Hi, thank you. Hey Ken, it's been a while. This has been a great blessing today. Like my life has gone into extreme fast forward in the last, I would say, 2 months, I would have not predicted what is on the verge of happening and what has happened, and
Yeah.
all for the best. And I think you have been a great catalyst all since the beginning and along the way. Today, very interesting. I haven't done any of the guided meditations of the room of creation. And right before even going into it, I had a big sneeze. And so that really opened up my sinus and head area. And that's
Okay.
exactly where I went right before you even said, let's bring the energy into
Isn't that great?
your head, into your body. And I tend to do that with you a lot. Like I'm just like a split second ahead of where we're going, which is always awesome. And then it was just a great release, and I had a couple of interesting focus points on my lower back, and I just don't know if you can, I don't know, tap into that or see what that was all about.
So I actually see two tethers. You know, and I do remember your story, or at least the highlights of the story, right? And some of those details, without going into it, are just still connected. All right. But they're not strong. It's not a strong connection at all. It's like you can easily break away from these. Hold on. It was actually three. I only saw two. Yeah, they said you're going to be, and they show me you being a little sore for a few more days, but those black tethers or whatever are released. Like they weren't that strong.
Yeah, definitely. I felt things coming off and just opening up, and it's just been the original, I know, is hanging around and things like that, but like there's a lot of movement just at work, in my house, and in the near vicinity, and even just like random people. I've had very interesting interactions, but
awesome.
Yeah, awesome. It's awesome to be in your circle, and all the best. Much love.
Thanks for showing up for you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Owner is the next one.
Hi, Owner.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm sorry, it doesn't show on my computer. My name is Constantina, and I wanted to tell you that after the last session that you did, I was on one of the last healings you did, and I was really tired and irritable, so I didn't see any clients during that time. I'm also an energy practitioner. And by the way, your aura is different today. It's really beautiful. Just thought I'd tell you. Different, much different today. But anyway, I didn't see any clients. And then I do have one tomorrow. But after listening to a few people, I noticed, yes, I'm familiar with all the old school, translations of what, they say, like we were talking about yin and yang, masculine, feminine sides, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But I've noticed in even myself recently, which I tried to do today with the light frequency, that the right side of my head, almost my whole head and jaw, along with a couple of other recent issues in the lower right, I want to say it's ileocecal valve and hip. I'm noticing that everything is on the right side. And I wanted your opinion on how that correlates with ancestral, etc. energies, as opposed to, the way other people translate it today, because I am noticing it now as we're going through this within myself as well.
Right. So you're asking me why the right side is impacted and not the other parts of the body?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of everything is happening on this right side in this recent year.
There's there's a dominant force or dominant energy that is redirecting the energetic connections to the right side. Okay, so I kind of see this thing almost like a conductor, right? Or somebody who would assign seating. I don't have another way to say this, right? And he's doing it for his benefit. And I usually see whatever I see. Don't drill into the masculine and feminine here for the moment, right? But he is kind of tapping into everything coming in and siphoning some of that energy. So he's an energy sucker as well, of those also trying to pull your energy out. He's commanding this. Now let me just check into this here. So they're telling me no, this isn't the case with you. But when I remove some of the darker things, demons and things like that, which I don't do often, but sometimes they show up. I will often see them affecting an entire one side of the body. All right. And as I work on them, I will see that even still on the one side of the body, they'll move around on the one side of the body during the session. Right. I've had people where their entire left side was almost immobile, right? So it wouldn't matter, their arm, their leg, didn't matter, right? And eventually when we're able to release that entity, everything began freeing up. That's not the case with you. But when somebody tells me, hey, my entire one side, that's the first thing I look at, right? Is do we have magic? Do we have demons? Do we have whatever? Hold on. Then they're actually shaking the head about the magic, because that's not a question I asked. which is I probably should ask. So there's some magic involved with your right side.
Okay, so yeah, that's actually the reason I was asking you, because what I'm seeing and testing, I'm not really getting a clear answer. As like when I work with other people, I know right away, what the issues are. And for some reason, I have the feeling it has to do with people in my past, but I'm not sure. So I wasn't sure how to move forward, because I do work with very high vibration.
Yeah, but when it comes to, it's not, remember, these are things in the past, or even if you work with high vibration, that's fantastic. That means you're not bringing anything new in that's lower vibration, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean those things aren't still attached that need to be dealt with.
Right. So how do I move forward with that for myself, as opposed to,
When it comes to magic and things like that, I would recommend a session, and I normally don't do the sessions. And what I'm trying to say is, in my group sessions and even in these, I don't work on darkness or magic and those type of things, because it really is an individual and experience, because I'll see the magic on the body and I've got to go in. Sometimes I have to deal with what I call energy interference, which means that as I remove the magic, there's something else putting it right back in, right? So it's an interactive thing that has to be done. So that's one of those, you probably need to have a session in order to dive into deep. It's just not going to happen in a group setting.
So that's why I wasn't recognizing what it was.
And I'm telling everyone, really, us looking at ourselves is the hardest. Us healing ourselves is the hardest.
Yeah.
And even for my sister Kim, when we got validation today, when we asked me about her, whatever, that the reason she has a hard time being healed for me is because she's so energetically close to me. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one is Stacy. Hi, Stacy.
Good day, folks.
Hey.
I just had a question about light language. I have a lot of dreams where I'm speaking light language, but it's not coming to me like in my meditations or anything. So I'm just curious, do you think that's more me astral traveling?
Yes.
Or would it be some area that I should really be focused on
It's
developing?
a version of you coming. Okay, so you already have it, you have the ability, it happens to you already, all right, but it's a version, you can call it a gift or a skill or whatever, but it's a version of you coming in, right? So you just need to allow, I've turned on light language with people before. My light language was turned on by listening to an audio CD, like it just comes in at some random time, right, when we're ready. So this is one of your talents and your gifts.
Okay.
Absolutely.
'Cause like I said, so far I get it in my dreams all the time where I'm doing it. It just
Yeah. So it's definitely coming for you. And I actually think it's a lot closer than we expect, like 6 weeks out, maybe.
thank you very much. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Thanks, Stacey.
Yeah. Lena, the next one.
Lena, you're muted. There you go.
Hi, I just
Hi.
have a question. You said we can go into the library and use the facility on our own. How often can we do that?
So again, you'd go into the Library of Creation, ask to be taken there, and then you'll ask to go into the room of energy purification. And they're basically telling me you can pitch a tent in there if you want.
Pardon? What'd you say?
They said you can pitch a tent in there if you want.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, as much as you want, right? And you can just pull that in. And so there'll be a replay. This will be up on YouTube in the next day or so, and you can go in there and if you want, you can just listen to when I'm doing it, in the beginning, because the light language can also be applied again as well. Like when you go into it and you're pulling the light into work, that's still going to elevate your energy, your frequency, but it's not necessarily going to do the healing. Hold on, they're saying that's not completely true. It's still happening without the light language, but the light language is amplifying what's happening, because what just took place is that when you go back in there, the experience you just had, the codes that were applied to you is still resonant in the room.
Okay,
So this is what they're telling me. That's new to me too.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Lena.
Thanks, Lena. Can we have a quick question here before we get to Rebecca? And this one is a good one, because I've often wondered this, Ken, and I didn't ask you, and I'll read the paragraph, but it's towards the bottom for Carol Ann, which is, do animals have attachments that need to be cleared?
I didn't know the answer to that until I asked Sheila Sepid the other day. So Sheila called me. She says, "Hey, my doggy's a little sick," and I says, so I worked. I mean, I don't normally work on animals. It's just whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll do it. And I got into it. I'm like, hey, Sheila, do animals have trauma? Because I'm seeing trauma, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So we did the thing, and then eventually Willow recovered, right? But so the answer is yeah. Yeah, they do. I don't understand it myself. Like, it's not my area of specialty. Like, even when I'm in there working on the animal, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, I don't know what a dog's stomach looks like or their lungs or anything, right? So my team, shows me kind of the human lungs or the human thing just to help me, process it. Otherwise, I'd be like, I just, I can't do the individual stuff. So the answer is yes. There's still a soul. They still had trauma. Right. But I've never looked into, well, what does that mean? Does the pit bull have trauma when he lived as a Chihuahua? I'm not sure, or vice versa. Maybe that's why Chihuahuas are so angry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's more to her paragraph. So she says, thank you, Ken. Great to see you. I am still working on seeing things, but I know it's a process. And yes, it absolutely is. One question, not sure they can answer. We rescued a dog a few weeks ago. We think he's younger than what they told us. He barks a lot. Do they know how old he may be? And then she asked the question about animals.
I don't know the age of the animal. I'd be guessing. And for whatever reason, the number 3 is coming up. Okay, but I'm not exactly sure. I want to move on to this question by Tris. Do animals have physical symptoms of the owners? Let me tell you something. Firsthand, I crap you not. So when I was having my near-death experience, right, I was diagnosed with a pituitary tumor, all right, which we would know as Cushing's disease, all right. So I had a dog of, Nikki knows Cosmo. We had a dog of and I think he lived till he was 13. But as I was having this happen, he ended up with Cushing's disease. He ended up with the same exact thing that I had, and he ended up passing away from it, right? So he was there and he was basically pulling the energy out of me so that what was going on with me was delayed, if you will. So absolutely, firsthand, totally they do.
Wow. Yes. Rebecca is next.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi. Hi. Just the quick follow-up to the question that I forgot,
Yeah.
or the report that I forgot. I was so surprised at that light. I mean, immediately when I came on, you were doing that, and the light just came on. I couldn't even see anything, my body.
Perfect. That's what we wanted,
So
right?
the second part of that was, I was equally surprised by the fact that there was an immediate release.
Of
And I
energy.
started crying.
Nice.
Yeah.
Feeling is
They were both so immediate and each such a surprise that's probably why I forgot. But anyway, thank you so much, Ken.
so I actually intentionally make my sister cry to heal her.
Oh, Lord.
Yes, I have cried before. I did earlier today. He had
Yeah.
Rebecca, and that hit me emotionally. Yes.
So does anyone else have any additional questions, or are we good to go?
I don't
just want to add. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
I forgot again.
Well, go ahead.
Not that important. Okay.
So I guess the last thing, well, Jane's got a question we'll ask her in a second.
Yeah.
So by the way, I will be in, again, Sarasota, Florida, September 5th through the 10th, doing my event there. Right? So if anybody wants to show up and meet and greet, I'll be there.
Oh, it looks like we've got Jane. We've got two more questions again.
It's Jan.
Jan, yes, thank you, Ken. Jan.
I got it.
No, I just wanted to make a quick comment. I
Yeah.
had my headbuds on when I was doing my earbuds when you were doing the meditation, but I took them off, and my cat, Fletcher, has gotten up on my lap. As soon as he heard your voice starting, he got up here. He's been laying here the whole time and just purring away. So I think animals definitely connect in with all of this as well.
They do. I think Kim can vouch, but they actually do show up in the room, right? And they calm down a little, right? But
Yes.
but they allow the process to happen.
Yes. So thank you very much.
Thanks. And we've got Heather.
Hey, Heather. No, you're muted.
Okay, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Sorry.
good.
Hi.
About that. Hey, thank you. And when I saw the email about this podcast and read that you were going to be fielding questions, in my mind it was like an interview of you. And
Okay.
so that's where I was kind of coming to this originally. But because I do sometimes feel like you're giving so much. You are taking care of all of us, and I appreciate it. But I'm also just so curious to know how it is for you. But we don't have to take it to like a personal.
I mean, you can answer. We're here. I mean, I think other people want to know what questions are being asked as well. So, I mean, I'm happy to answer.
Cool, fair enough. Yeah. I have like 30 different questions written down here, but what keeps popping back is I just wonder how he feels. How do you feel?
Non-human most of the time. But I mean that in a funny way, like literally, I don't have, hobbies. I don't have, things I want to do. I'm in Tulum, Mexico, and I have no desire to go do things. And it's not a depression at all. It's like, I just don't have stuff, right? It's kind of always been like that. Beyond that, I struggle just like everyone else, right? I struggle like, how can I do better with what I'm doing? How can I connect deeper? I'll ask questions, maybe I get information, maybe I don't, so I struggle with this whole process, but at the same time, it feels normal. Like it feels like I have done this a zillion times, and this is what I do. I show up at times of ascension and do this thing, whatever this thing is, right? But even with the things that I know are coming, which I know a little bit of some of the things that are coming, it feels like, okay, like it's just normal. Like I thought in the beginning, I thought everyone did this. I thought everyone could see the body and everyone could, again, this just turned on in the last 3 years, I think, really, even though the near death was 6 years ago, the last 3 years or so. I thought everyone could, right? And now I'm learning that's not the case, and now my claircognizance is ramped up since the Bufo. And that was intense to have that feeling of, wow, it just shows up and I just know. And at least and most of the times I just know unless they don't want to tell me. But I don't have another way. And it doesn't feel euphoric, it doesn't feel egoic. It doesn't feel like I'm on top of the world, right? But I also don't have any worries. I don't worry about money. I don't worry about, connecting with people. I don't worry about the future. I don't worry about how many events I have. I don't worry. I literally have no worries. I don't sit around all day long wondering, wow, man, what's going to happen with that? How do I fix that? None of that. None of it. And I also don't have any fear, right? Now, as I tell people, if I'm in a dark alley at 2 a.m., which, my God, if I'm at 2 a.m. anywhere, there's a problem. But if I'm in a dark alley at 2 a.m., I'm probably going to have a little bit of fear, right? But when I'm doing my thing, I got to tell you, it doesn't matter what shows up. There's no emotional discharge from me at all. The root chakra is gone. Anger, fear, hatred, judgment, all of that, none of it shows up in any aspect of my life, even when I'm driving, if I'm in traffic, right? None of it shows up. It just doesn't show up. People could treat me really bad. They don't, but occasionally we get that jerk out there, right? It doesn't impact me. It does, and it's just the way it is. So, and I'm not sure if that answered your question or whatever, but yeah. So, I don't have the trauma because I ripped the root chakra out. Most of my trauma was released. I still had things I needed to do, but I don't bring in new trauma either. I'm going through things in my 3D life that should be traumatic as heck. Not an ounce of trauma, not an ounce of concern, not an ounce of anything with regards to all of that.
Well, yeah, that definitely answers my question really, really well. So thank you. And if you don't mind, since I had so many other questions, but I was able to narrow down because of some of the things that you said. Now, I have here, that quote, "There is nothing to fear but fear itself." And so I was wondering if you wanted to talk about the fear of something being potentially more harmful than the actual thing. Like, for example, the quote unquote food that we have on the shelves in the grocery store, and 5G and radiation and parasites and all of these things that I can sometimes, whether that be because of something that somebody has said to me, and it kind of, if I let it, it will sprout and it will start to take my energy. And so,
right. So I would talk about individual topics out there, right? And just for your background, I've been disconnected from the news for 7 years, right? I have no newsletters, no podcasts. I mean, I don't watch anything. So everything that happens to me is pretty, whatever shows up, shows up. But I will tell you about fear and fear within society, right? When we talk about the collective vibration, the best way to bring the collective vibration down is through fear, right? So the fear of, I think you mentioned food, or the fear of EMF, and fill out in the blank, right? Don't feed into it. Oh, does that mean the food doesn't have issues? Well, no, the food has issues. Does that mean EFM's not a problem? EMF's not a problem? No, I'm pretty sure it's a problem for some people, right? but how much are you going to put into, how much energy are you going to put into that fear? So I had, some situations, I'm going to use the word fear here, but let's just not call it fear. Let's just call it a little reservation, to my team. I'm like, I don't know if I want to ask you a question. This is, as I'm moving through, this is just recent, right? And because I found myself not asking those questions I need to ask of the team because I was quote unquote fearful I wouldn't get a response. I was fearful that it was in my head, which they laugh at me every time I say that, right? Because they are me. They literally have every thought in me is also them, right? Because we're the collective. So, and they told me, and they did use the word fear. They said, Ken, if you just step into that fear, you'll get through it. Right. So in my example, and I'm using the word fear because I don't have a better way to explain the hesitation I had, you could say it fearful of being let down, right? And those type of things. So yes, there are things to worry about in society. I say worry, but things that are happening in society, right, that are designed to generate fear. What do you do about it? It really is your action and your approach to those things. If you are concerned about EMF, okay, well, go down the rabbit hole and go buy those devices and wear those hats and those shirts and, and protect the router and, go through those things. I mean, there are some people out there that have physical reaction to EMFs and things like that. So it makes sense, right? But for the rest of us, I would say focus on raising your vibration, right? Focus on healing, focus on bringing yourself up to that 5D level where those 3D things aren't as impactful. Does that help?
It does. And like all these other questions, that is exactly what I expected you to say. So I write these things down and I think, I'm already like hearing your answer. So so thank you so much.
Thanks.
And I don't want to take up too much time. But if you ever feel like talking about ADHD, I'm all ears. So
Yeah.
thank you.
My team still hasn't turned on knowledge yet, right? They've turned on knowledge on how to navigate the library of creation for healing, right? But they haven't turned on the knowledge of how things are done or history, and they're actually shaking their finger at me saying that's not necessarily true. So I'll have a conversation with them later. And what do you mean by that? It's not necessarily true, right? So they're kind of always off on my right, and I can kind of see facial expressions, right? But when they talk to me, it's either in the chest or the head, and I can feel it. And they're the same voice. You would think it was you talking to yourself, right? But that's not the case because the other day I was in meditation, my whole body is shaking, and I've got this crazy electricity running through my body, and this happens all the time. And out of nowhere, they said, listen, Ken, you're overstimulating your parasympathetic nervous system. It's okay. This is what we expect you to do. I'm like, but you're doing what? Like, I've never used those words in my life. I had to Google what that was. And sure shit. Oh, I am doing that. So it is sometimes it's these weird words they use and the way they phrase it that is human confirmation that there's absolutely, 22 in me. Cool.
So Ken, we have some chat
Okay.
comments that have
Yeah.
built up. So before Patty, if you could just give us a second here. Carrie says, much appreciation for your energy offering. Thank you. Sending you love and blessings to all. Trish, I love you, Trish. She says, when are you going to Tulum?
I'm done in
I don't know
Tulum.
if I'm going to make it there.
You're not. I'm leaving Tulum on the 29th of August, permanently going back to the States. And I'll probably tromp around Sarasota for a while. I'm not even sure yet.
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to get there. She said my cats come and go through my office. So I have the same thing. I have one. He's zonked out beside me. Mary says, nice Sarasota Stargate. I think
it's Ashiana.
Yeah, it's still there too. Okay. And then Carol says she sent you a message. She said she can't raise her hand or speak clearly at this time. So, but that ended up going through direct message. So when you get a chance to look at that.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Well, it would have went directly to me, I guess, but I don't. Oh, there it goes. Hold on. Oh. So this is Carol. This is for you, real quick. Shri ni tar ko ni ni sha ama ani ni diri ni dara shri ni diri ni dro ko ni ta shri ni ta ama ama ni ko shri ni diri ni tar ni ta ani ni no no ko shu ko tu shri di ni ni di shri about my and the goes in plasma being showed up for you. Kusha apa apa ni ni diri ni diri ko shri do ko ta pa 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 kiti shri ya Kushari no ni diri ni shri ni shri do ta remove that attachment. Ka pa 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 ni di shri do show. Rebuild. All right, you should be feeling some energy from that if you feel energy. So thank you for your comment, Carol.
Thank you. Kathy says, I think I should have asked Ken if he saw anything on my right shoulder.
I don't even remember the conversation. And then that's just the way this works with me, right? Do you remember the conversation, Kim?
What she was talking earlier with the right side.
Oh, the full right side, everything on the right side?
Yeah, let me go up a little bit here. Oh, it's not letting me do it.
Okay.
Kathy, can you get back? Might need to get her back on.
Okay.
I just you were telling everybody else you saw something, and I actually was explaining what I was feeling, but you didn't say like you actually saw something.
Could you tell me what was going on again? You're feeling? Was that
It's just there was always some stiffness kind of off and on, but always when I get in the car to drive.
Oh, right. And that's why I was asking you where you were going, meaning it was the destination you're going to that was.
And I thought that was for a while, but it wasn't because it's every time.
Okay. There is emotions that are buried in there. And childhood stuff too. Have you been to the group healings, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Over. Okay, I see. Let's had to pull something out of your shoulder. You should get that contract. You build. Okay, well, let's see how that shows up for you.
Okay.
You'll have to see how it shows up. Like I couldn't explain what would just took place.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep, cool. All right.
Patty is back on. Hi, Patty.
Okay, Patty, what's going on, bud?
Can you hear me? Yep. You mentioned a while ago about dogs and their connection with souls and that. This book here, which is a complete book of working dog stories, there's be 300 stories in this book, all from the Australian outback, and there are some in here that will reduce you to tears. What dogs have done that they should not have known, but they did know. They've saved people's lives. It's absolutely incredible. If you want one, I'll find one in a second-hand bookshop and send it to you.
All right, you guys can message Patty. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty.
That's all right. No worries at all. Least I can do.
Appreciate that.
Dogs rule.
June is next.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
Thanks for your work.
Yeah, no problem. What can I do for you?
I wanted to say that I felt relaxed after the light exercise, which was very pleasant. And the question is, I have an upper stomach pain or sensitivity occasionally. And is that an ancestral or an entity or something else?
There's definitely. Let me just ask the question. Yeah, you have an entity in there, and I see it just hanging out. So. There's a portal there too. Hold on. Close that. Let that go out. Dissolve into the chest. Rebuild. Okay, so you'll just have to see how that shows up. There's a portal there, and things are just coming in and out. I didn't see anything as bad.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I appreciate that a whole lot.
No problem. Thanks, June.
You're welcome.
We've got some other messages here with thank yous. Mary Lee, thank you for the wonderful session and insights. Dennis, thank you. Heather is asking, am I holding myself back or being held back? And then the next question is, how do I release resistance? What should I dive into? Like Reiki or Tantra, or, what should she do?
So those are great questions, Bonnie and Amani, and they're saying it's a little bit of both. All right. So the idea of you being held back is you holding yourself back. Okay. I know it sounds a little twisted in words, right? As you move through the next level or the next phase, you have to release the idea that there's something out there intentionally preventing you from being you. When you release the idea there are any blockages in your particular case, the release, all right? And regardless of whether it's Tantra or, was it Reiki? I think the answer is both. They're both ways to move energy, right? Now, whether you practice Reiki as a profession is a different question, or if you practice Tantra as a profession in terms of administering or teaching or whatever is a different question, okay? But ultimately, yeah, I think you opening up channels in the body for energy flow is actually critical. They didn't say important, they said critical.
Wow. That was a really good question. Thank you, Heather.
Yeah. So we're at the top of the hour, Kim. I think it's time for us to skadoodle noodle. I think my live stream is up as well.
Great. We have a lot of thank yous. Thank you so much, Ken. You're terrific. Thank you for all that you do. So thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.
Thank you. And, book a session or show up for the group healing, but, keep hanging around. There's always something happening.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Have a great one.